Hello everyone, I hope you've been doing well. I am back. Well, kind of. It's been over 3 months now since I've done a YouTube video, and I know a lot of you have messaged me wondering where I've been, what we're up to, if we're doing okay, and I owe it to you guys to give you an explanation and kind of the game plan going forward. There's been a lot going on, and I'm kind of categorizing it as the good. There's been some good things going on, the bad, and then there's some just ugly behind the scenes stuff as well. So let's go ahead and start with the good news. I got another job, kind of. It's not a full-time job. Don't worry, I'm not abandoning the homesteading RD or anything like that. And I wasn't looking for a job either. I just had an opportunity plop into my lap. Someone from my community stopped by one day and presented a need. They really needed help with something, and they thought that I would be a good fit. Can you come help us? It'll only be, a 1 day a month or something like that. And so I thought, yeah, I'll do it. That's something that honestly I had been praying for at least 6 months or so. I love living out in a remote area and having our own space. And while my business is great, I was missing a little bit of face-to-face time. I don't want a full-time face-to-face job, but a little bit of engaging with my community, serving my community. I was like, yeah, sign me up. But what I didn't realize is that the initial period of that job was actually really intense. So for at least a month, 6 weeks, I was over there 2 to 3 days a week to kind of help them sort through what had happened. So the ongoing hours should again only be 1 day a month, and I'm looking forward to that. But that initial kind of helping them out phase, it was pretty intense, and I'm still kind of sorting through it. It's not done yet. I'm not quite to the maintenance phase. And as far as what the job is, that's something that I decided that I want to keep private, I guess. I'm all about sharing parts of my life and bringing you guys along, but it's still important to me to keep some things private. So I won't be sharing exactly what the job is, but that has certainly been a big time commitment for me lately to kind of get all of that sorted. And so YouTube naturally had to take a little pause for that. So that's the good news. It's been kind of a fun little side project, and I've been really enjoying getting to know people around here, which is actually really wonderful. We've been pretty isolated out here, which was part of the plan, but it's really nice to be able to know people locally if we need help or just want to ask about, hey, where do you find such and such around here? And then we can help them if they need anything. So just building a little bit of that local community. So now let's move on to the bad stuff that has also made me put YouTube on pause. So a big one has been Tucker. Poor guy. He tore his MCC, I believe, which is the human equivalent ACL. And so he needed the full big surgery called the TPLO. And so that was back in March, I think, pretty much when I stopped YouTube. And that recovery has been no joke. I mean, I was sleeping with him for 2 weeks. He's still on a leash, so I have to leash walk him anytime he needs to go to the bathroom. And then as he's been recovering, I've had to do like intense PT work with him, bringing him in for laser therapy 8 different times to our vet, which is not nearby. And then now we're up to 40-minute long leash walks. So when it's all said and done, I'm spending about 2 hours a day helping him recover. So that times 7, I mean, that's a YouTube video right there. So, but our dogs are our kids, so I'm happy to do it to help him make a full recovery. He's doing a whole lot better. He is almost fully recovered, I would say, except for this leads me into the next bad thing. We finally got to the point where he had his first off-leash little mini walk to kind of test the knee. And within 5 minutes, he got into a porcupine super bad. That was 2 weeks ago. He had to go have emergency surgery, and we were up in Duluth at the emergency vet till 2 a.m. and I'm still pulling quills out of him. Porcupines are no joke. There are so many on our property. This is our 6th run-in with porcupines in the last 2 years since being here. All 3 of our dogs have gotten snouts full, but this one was by far the worst. And he's still not the same. He's still recovering. So poor guy. We've just had one thing after another with him. Roxy is also on the decline. We thought we were going to lose her about a month ago. We even had her euthanasia scheduled, but then she had to come back. She's still, old and on her last leg. I think this will be our last summer with her, but that's been a lot. And I lost half my chickens last week. We had a coyote come through and just totally had a field day. So they are all locked in here. So we're still kind of on lockdown mode. Yeah, there's just been a lot of emotional tolls around here. Homesteading is anything but easy. Love the lifestyle, but just feel like it's been one thing after another lately. So I'm just tired, emotionally tired, needing to dig deep. And then we've also had pretty much the coldest May on record in a long time. Someone had told me it's the coldest May that we've had in 50 years, something like that. So a lot of my garden still isn't planted. Things are just, it's moving slow. Now let's move on to the ugly side of things. So yes, there are some black and white things going on that have just occupied my time, but there's kind of a bigger overarching thing going on as well. And I debated if I wanted to share this or not, but I'm such a transparent person, and I think it's important to be honest as a content creator to kind of share all parts of being a content creator, I guess, especially if you're someone who's been thinking about doing it, or maybe you're kind of new and just getting into it, or maybe you're an established content creator and it's kind of nice to know that we're all in it together, you know, if you're struggling as well. So I guess for me, I've been struggling on a couple different things. One I didn't really expect, and that is, I guess, the privacy level, you know, on blog posts and short form, like 60-second reels and stuff. I could just share little snippets here and there. But on YouTube, I feel like it's a whole nother level. You're sharing a lot of things and in depth, and the camera's out there with you for the entire period of whatever you're doing. And I know some people probably really enjoy, you know, just like having the camera around and sharing their life and everything, but I'm kind of a private person when it comes down to it. And, you know, over time, just starting to kind of feel like, should I be sharing this many things with, you know, who knows who on the internet? I know 99% of you are wonderful, amazing people who I would love to call my friends, but you just never know who's out there. And I don't know, just starting to think through just how many details I want to be sharing and turning my hobby into a job. That is something that I kind of had the voice in the back of my mind when I started this. And I have a gnat in my mouth. The gnats have been awful lately. Not so bad on mosquitoes, but the gnats have been bad. But yeah, I kind of had this thought in the back of my head that, okay, you're starting this new job, the Homesteading RD, showcasing your homesteading life and your gardening and everything. Do you really want to turn your hobby into your job? And while I love it and I'm still going to do it and everything, and I would greatly take this any day over my old job as a hospital dietitian, there are some negatives to it, you know, just kind of like disconnecting, leaving my phone in the house and just working in the garden for hours. That has always been my me time, my way to decompress and everything. And I feel like I'm losing that a little bit. I'm losing that little part of my life that has really served me well. So just trying to find a balance and what that looks like for me and what's a good happy mediums, because I still love sharing, you know, about our lifestyle and the things that we're doing. I think I'd be sad if I didn't have this outlet at all and way to connect with you guys. So yeah, just random tidbits. That's been one piece of it, just trying to figure out, am I better off with short form and blog posts? Do I want to do long form videos? I don't know. I think I want to do a combination of both, which I'll talk about in a minute. The other piece of content creation that I'm really struggling with over the last few months is burnout. I think I finally hit my wall. I've been kind of slowly building and adding and building and adding over the last few years, and I think I've hit my max. It is just me. I know a lot of people out there, it's a husband and wife or a partner duo. They can split the tasks and really go for it and do all these things, or they start to hire out some parts of their business so they can manage it all. And it is just me. Ryan still works his full-time job and he's working 40 to 60 hours a week. While he'll hop in and he doesn't mind being in a video every once in a while, I'm doing all the camera work, the editing, all the things. So between making short form videos, the weekly long form YouTube videos, I try to do a weekly blog post on my website, a weekly email, and talking with brands and replying to DMs. Brands actually take a decent amount of time. It's one of the few ways that I can make money, you know, being a content creator, and I really want to be sure that I'm doing solid partnerships, really researching the product if it's something I'm not familiar with, because I'm not someone that's just going to chase the money. I only promote something if I absolutely 100% support that product and can stand by it. So yeah, just at the end of the day, I was stretched really thin, and I got to realizing that I'm not really seeing my friends and family as often as I used to, or as much as I'd like, and I was just getting burnt out, I guess. And so I was already feeling that way, and then once this job came by and then Tucker had his surgery, I was like, okay, we got to just put some things aside, reset, kind of get back to the drawing board and decide what's the best plan for me and us going forward. So I think, at least at this moment, is always evolving. What this is going to look like is I'm probably not going to be doing weekly long form YouTube videos for now, at least. So someday I feel like my website's going to die because the blogging world is just slowly dying as AI is taking over on everything. So for now I'm holding on to it, but once it's time to close that book, that'll open up a bunch more time, and maybe I'll jump back into YouTube more frequently, but I'm not leaving forever. I like being on here. I love sharing information. I think it's a great way to connect with you guys and document things for myself too, especially those garden tours. I can't even tell you how many times I've gone back to my garden tours just because I wanted to look at something again on how I did it and all of that. So still definitely going to do monthly garden tours. I know you guys really like those too. So I think my first official video back is going to be June garden tour. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And we do have, Ryan and I have some solar setup off-grid stuff to film this summer. We still have a contract with Signature Solar, and we're gonna keep good with that. So that's gonna be super fun. I can't wait to kind of get all that set up back at Ryan's shop so we can officially have power. We're still running on a generator back there. And still, there's little things I want to share here and there. So I'll still be making videos, probably not on a weekly basis, at least not for now. And yeah, it's just constantly evolving. Who knows what the summer will bring? I hope it's going to be a good gardening year. I can't wait to share everything with you guys, or at least little bits here and there. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and everyone for checking on me. You guys are so sweet, making sure I'm doing okay. Overall, we're great. Ryan and I are great. We're healthy. We're getting along really well. And we actually just had our 17th wedding anniversary last weekend, so that was really fun. So I think that's everything. I hope you guys are having a great week. See you at the garden tour.